What if we have int array2? So is this a declaration or is this a definition? Is this declaring an array that will be defined somewhere else, or is it the actual definition? We can't actually tell by looking at this. Um, so it could be either of those things, and it's going to depend on what we link it to, it turns out. So this declaration slash definition creates a weak symbol in the object file. It's a weak symbol because it doesn't have extern to clarify that it really is just a declaration, and it doesn't have initialization, an initial value to clarify that it really is a definition. Okay. So there are historical reasons for this notion of weak symbol. There are rules that go with it. So if you have just one weak declaration among all the files that you're linking together, then that symbol's declaration turns out to be a definition instead. Right. So if this was the only int array2 in our whole program, as a global variable, then this is the one that would be a definition. On the other hand, if we had one of these and then we also had a strong one, that is one that had initialization, then this would turn out to be just a declaration, and all the files would use the other one. If two files declared array as strong definition, then there would be an error. And then, worst of all, if there are multiple weak ones, one of them is chosen more or less arbitrarily. Let's show some concrete examples. So here I have main.c has a definition of array. It's clearly a definition because it's got the initial values there. So it creates a strong symbol in the main.o file. Sum.c has a weak array, a weak symbol in its .o. So in this case, we have strong and weak. The strong one will be the definition, right? As we expected. Here in this case, we've got a strong declaration in sum and a weak declaration in main. So this is just the opposite order, opposite arrangement. The one in sum here, that will be the definition, and all the other array references refer to that definition. Here I've got two array declarations, both of them with initial values for the array. So they both have to be definitions. They both correspond to strong symbols in the object file, and when the linker sees that, it'll report an error consistently. And here's the case that you don't mean to write ever on. That's when we have a weak array declaration over here and a weak array declaration over here, and the compiler is just going to pick one. And if this turns out to be a definition, then GCC implicitly says, oh, that must be an array of size 1, which is unfortunate if main.c was expecting an array of size 2. Bad things can happen. To avoid this weak and strong symbol mess, you can just use the -f no common flag to GCC. And that will say that if you have things that could be definitions, weak or strong, then don't allow multiple of them. So let's try these things out. I have a variant of sum where we've declared an array and made it clear it's a definition by initializing it. In sum.c, I have array as a weak symbol. So it's declaring that there is an array somewhere, maybe this one, maybe somewhere else, effectively. If we compile and link these together, notice we got a warning from GCC because I didn't put anything here. We could put 1 there, and that's not what the issue is. So let's do that just to make clear what's going on. So when we say a.out and echo the status result, since we return the sum, then it prints 3 as we expect. That's because this weak symbol for array was just treated as a declaration at the end, and that this was the actual definition. If we flip things around, so let's say array of size 1 that just has a 1 in it, then that one is going to, we got an error or a warning here. It noticed that even though there's no types, that the size of this array was smaller than the size of this array. So notice it's not an error. It lets us keep going. Okay. We get something that happens to be 1 plus 0, but that's just because whatever is after memory perhaps is 0. So we can get rid of that warning by having size 2 here. Right. So we won't get the warning. It'll run. the result will be 4. And let's see, what if I have an array 2 here and an array 2 here? Now they're both weak. What happens when we run them? Okay, well, it picked one of them. We didn't get an error. On the other hand, if we say f no common, then we'll get an error saying there's multiple things that could be definitions of an array. Even if I make one of them a strong one, like this, then we still get a warning about multiple definitions because we still have a strong and a weak declaration. If we want to do the right thing, then we declare this one as extern to make clear it's a declaration. And now we won't get those errors anymore.